In this video, we're going to be talking all about the new version of Vikendi, Vikendi Reborn, and all of the new features that are in this map. I'm going to be talking about my opinion of them, the good, the bad, and we're also going to be going over the next Vikendi update, which PUBG has kind of mentioned or leaked today on social media, including the new creature that there was rumors about. So this is going to be the first creature coming into the battlegrounds. We're going to cover all of that here. First, in the background, we have some gameplay from Friday. Every Friday on the stream at twitch.tv/Blitz5andFriends, we do a community day where we have a lot of fun. I mean, these are the best days of the stream. And if you ever want to hop in and play with us, we play with new players and everybody. This is a fun match. And at the end, there's a really cool kill chicken dinner. So you guys definitely want to stick around for that. And I think first, it's important to start off with this new update. So on social media, PUBG posted today, what are you most excited about in the new update? The new attachment, the new creature, or the new environmental mood? And during the initial Vikendi reveal, PUBG made a reference to a creature potentially coming into the game. I made a really interesting video about all the proof of this creature and its secret connection to Callisto Protocol, which is another game made by Krafton, who made PUBG. It's made by Striking Distance Studios. And so that's an interesting thing that it's actually coming into the game. And then the new attachment and new environmental mood is almost certainly going to be night mode and most likely the thermal scope. And if you guys remember, if you're longtime PUBG players, the nighttime mode initially debuted on the original version of Vikendi, which was really cool. Then they took it out, they brought it back. There's been different iterations of it. And then same thing with the thermal scope. That was brought in as a labs event. So it was tested on Vikendi and never permanently brought into the game. And I've been thinking about that scope for a while because I thought it was really well done. Normally, I'm very adverse to having something like that in the game because usually a thermal scope is super OP. But if you didn't play it, PUBG actually did a great job of balancing the thermal scope by making it where you could see somebody's heat signature through like bushes or through a smoke, but it was very pixelated. The scope was pixelated. It was hard to see through. It was hard to see the exact body shape. So sometimes you would miss a shot, especially if you were sniping, or you couldn't tell if there was two people standing next to each other or one. So I thought that was a great way to balance out the scope, and it was locked in at kind of like a longer range. So you kind of had to commit to using that. And to me, you know, PUBG's always done a pretty good job of balancing things like that. I don't think PUBG gets enough credit for doing it. So in this next update, we'll be seeing the creature allegedly in one of the caves around the map. If you haven't seen, there's a very large cave on the bottom right side of the map. And who knows exactly how this is going to play out. I think it's going to be an event on the map where people go and try to fight the creature. People might go and try to third party people that are fighting, and whoever ends up killing the creature will get some kind of bonus for their squad. That's what I think. But, you know, let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. And obviously, I'll be putting out content as soon as we find out what's up with that creature and that update goes live. And the new stuff sounds good as well. And then getting to the map, I want to also talk about why the map feels so different, because I feel like this is a pretty important thing. A lot of people have been talking about this. Vikendi's an awesome map, but the ending feels really slow. The zones feel different. And what's going on with that? And we have some data here to kind of show you guys what's going on. I have some data to show you all about why that is. So there's a really cool application here called lunchmeat.zone. And this is for people who do like custom games and stuff like that. And this was data mined from someone here named Safix and Andy Mendias. And they basically just got this data through PUBG. And you can see this when you go to create a custom game, the data here. And what PUBG does is they show in seconds when you go into custom games, you know, how long the zone waits, how fast it moves, how much damage per second it does, and all of this information. So in a normal match here, we have Erangel, and you'll see here that the total time a match can take is 32 minutes and 30 seconds. And typically in PUBG, there's an extended wait period for the first zone. So you can see there's a delay of 120 seconds, and then an additional wait of 270 seconds, and then it moves at 300 speed, so it's 25 meters per second, I guess, and then a low DPS 0.4. Obviously, you usually don't get killed in phase 1. And then the wait time goes down to 180, so 3 minutes for phase 2. Then for phase 3, it waits 2 minutes, and then it kind of slowly goes down here. And this makes sense, right? Towards the end, you only get about 90 seconds, 70 seconds, or 60 seconds before the zone closes. And I feel like we're all kind of used to that pattern. And the speeds here, the speed kind of goes down slowly and then very kind of slow at the end, but it does a lot of damage. Then what I noticed with Vikendi is if we go here, it has that normal delay and wait time, but then it quickly drops down to 120 instead of 3 minutes, and then goes to 60 and remains that way all of the way until phase 8, which is crazy. So I think phase 2, 3, 4 are really throwing a lot of players off because it immediately drops down to 60 and there's not much of a wait period. So here you really need to get in a car or prioritize finding cars when you drop so you don't get screwed by these early rotations. And then at the end, well, let me mention this. So you see, okay, it's all 60. So it should be like a much faster game if they just sped it up. It should be like 20 minutes. But if you look at the very bottom, it's still at 33 minutes. It's actually longer than an Erangel match. How could that be? Well, they've actually slowed down the zones here. So it kind of throws you off. The zone pops quicker, but then the blue zone moves in slower. And this to me is really noticeable in phase 6 and phase 7. Really, I guess phase 5 on. But if you guys are playing PUBG, pay attention to how slow phase 6 and phase 7 are. And I feel like it really throws off a lot of players. So let's take a look. If you go back to Erangel, phase 6 is 90-second wait with 6 meter time. And then phase 7 is 70 seconds with 3 meters per second. We go to Vikendi. Phase 6 is 1.5 versus 6. So it's a huge difference on speed. And phase 7 is 1.3 versus 3 there. So a huge difference in those phases. And I feel like it throws a lot of people off because a lot of times, a lot of the zones are out in the open on Vikendi. And then you're just sitting there thinking, okay, all we need to do is kind of hide behind this rock for 30 seconds, then the zone will pop. But in this case, you have to wait so long for the zone to close that you're kind of just there at standstill. So it kind of feels a little boring, first of all. And second, if you get antsy and move, you really put yourself in a bad position because everyone is kind of locked in doing the same thing at the end, right? Towards the end, people tend to kind of play a little bit more passive. I feel like, you've already spent 20 minutes or 25 minutes. So you want to get the win. At least that's how, I notice a lot of people play, usually more aggressive in the beginning. And at the end, people will hold down or camp a little bit more, which makes sense because you've already committed that long to playing. So if you're if you're struggling on Vikendi, you're having a tough time, make sure you prioritize finding cars when you land, and then make sure you're aware that the end phase 5, phase 6, phase 7 are going to go really slow, and try to plan accordingly to fight that. But I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to show you guys about that. I don't know if anybody really cares. I like looking at the data, stuff like that. A lot of times I forget it, but it's good to know that kind of information when you're playing, again, so you have a better chance to win. And back to the gameplay here on Vikendi. Again, some really fun moments on this one on a Friday. So getting back to the map itself and some of the new features that we have on the map. So we have the new comeback BR, which I think is a huge win for this map. They've broken it down to 3 phases, so it's a lot faster to get into the comeback. And I really like the way it's set up. It's action-packed. It's a little bit more intense. It's not as easy to win. So I feel like this is great, and I would love to see this on all of the maps in the game. When you go to Tego now and you die off the bat and go to comeback, you still have to wait like 7 or 8 minutes. It just feels so long and boring compared to Vikendi, which is kind of interesting. And then we just got the new Tornado and the new care packages, so I was kind of waiting to play that. It was on PC for a while, and we just got it on console. I think overall, those 2 things are a win. You don't really see the Tornadoes that much. They could be longer, maybe more of them, or even bigger. But overall, once you are affected by the Tornado, I think the effects are really cool. It slows down your movement, visibility, but it doesn't really do that much damage, so it's not going to kill you like the Red Zone. I feel like this is a much better kind of thing to kind of throw a wrench in your game, but not kill you all the way. So to me, this is way better. I think that's really cool. The multiple care packages on Vikendi. I'd love to hear what you guys think of multiple care packages. I think they're a little bit more balanced on here. On Tego for a while, like every single person had 3 gear and was just getting too crazy. On this, the care packages aren't really filled with as much stuff, but it's just really exciting to see all those care packages. And I feel like it really brings people together on such a big map, kind of focuses the attention to certain areas. So to me, it makes the map more action packed, which I like because Vikendi is really big. So all that stuff I think is really good, to be honest with you. But there are some negatives. So Vikendi increasing in size does make the map feel kind of strange in some areas, right? It can be a little slow. It's going to be like the frozen version of Miramar. A lot of the areas seem kind of underwhelming or underdeveloped. A lot of just open land with not much going on in it. So, that's either intentional or, maybe they just didn't, they had to finish the map and just couldn't put in all the detail in these areas, but it definitely seems like some areas are a little unfinished or very open. And I know on Tego, they kind of went back in and put in more rocks and stuff for cover. And I think Vikendi will ultimately need that because it's really hard to play, I think, for a casual person. This is almost more of like an esports map because to play in these open areas, you need really good teamwork, really good map knowledge, and a ton of smokes and utility and stuff like that. And I think the average player just isn't really focusing on all that stuff all the time. So definitely a lot harder to win. And again, it goes back to the zones kind of thing. And then another little bit of a fail here, I think, is the research lab. So if you guys aren't aware of it, some people don't even know about this. On the northwest corner of the map, PUBG put in these research labs where you can go and potentially get some crate gear. It's pretty low probability. I've only gotten crate weapons maybe like 2 or 3 times, and I go there fairly often. Well, maybe not that many times, but there's these little centers that have like a satellite research centers. They're on the ice, and when you go to loot something, the alarms go off in the area. So the idea is that, you know, people will hear you going for the loot or higher chance of getting crate loot, and they'll come and attack you and kill you. But in practice, because the research centers are in the middle of nowhere, no one is really hearing the alarms go off anyways. So I feel like this is kind of a metaphor for a lot of things that PUBG does, like the tornado, like the train, like the cable car. Amazing ideas, and they develop them right, but then the implementation isn't great, or it just doesn't work out how they planned, right? So basically, like, you're just hearing this annoying alarm. I really haven't been like attacked by that many people going there because they heard the alarm, right? Normally they just see me. I don't think they're hearing the actual alarm. So to me, it would make sense if it was near like train station or hot drop. So a lot of people were there and they'd go like, oh my God, we're hot dropping and people are getting the secret loot over there. Let's go attack them over there. So that would make more sense in my opinion. But that's just me. And then same thing, the train, they kind of made they eliminated the train around the map and they made one train to coal mine. Again, nobody really uses it. I thought that people would maybe use it because it connected to the hot drop at train station. But I think ultimately people don't like waiting for things. So there's only, one train and it goes back and forth. So if you miss the train, it's not coming back for like 10 minutes or whatever it is. So people aren't going to wait for 10 minutes. Zone's coming. You don't know where the zone's going. So to me, if they were going to make this work, they almost need to have multiple trains going back and forth, like 3 or 4 lines going back and forth at all time or something like that. And that's kind of what they did with the cable car. For the cable car to be more useful, they need to have 2 going back and forth so you have a better chance of getting one. And even then, you've already seen kind of a big drop off, in my opinion, of people using the cable car. It's really fun. It was great to meme at first, but then you find out, oh, it's actually pretty hard to hit somebody off the cable car, like shooting from the cable car, because you need to compensate for the movement of that. And it's really hard to hit someone with the panzer from the cable car, like almost impossible. It's just very, very difficult unless they're right below you. But it's still a really fun implementation. To me, it doesn't really change anything too much in the map. And I still do see people using it from time to time. But again, it's just not as useful as before. So, but it's really cool seeing the cable car. It was a really fun addition, and I like that. Also, we have the secret rooms, which, PUBG launched Vikendi without the secret keys, which was interesting. And now they're there. But I feel like there's a lot of people that don't understand where the rooms are and the whole purpose of that. It's interesting with the secret keys and the research and the crates. There's a lot of ways to get cool loot or to get crate gear. But because the secret rooms are kind of spread out and they're underneath the hills and are in the little bunkers, I kind of feel like it's decent. My opinion on that isn't really set yet. I like them. On Tego, they're a little bit more out in the open, so it creates some action sometimes there. But here, it seems like they're kind of in the middle of nowhere. So we'll have to see how that plays out. Really, we've only had that for like a week, the secret keys. So we'll see how that ends up working out. I'm just checking my list about any other stuff that we want to talk about for Vikendi. So we covered the phase, the size difference. Tornado is cool, but I think there needs to be more of them. Secret rooms, I think Judgment we're still waiting on that. The snowmobile is cool. Don't end up using it a lot though. I feel like there could be more of them, honestly, or maybe spawn 2 of them next to each other so a whole squad could take them. I feel like that would be pretty cool. Just seems like, why would you not take a Zima over those things? I think people are kind of over those vehicles, especially with squads, because you could just get shot off them so easily. The terrain is decent. Like I said, not mentioning the open area, but like the ups and downs seems fine. And overall, I'm pretty happy with the map. I will say that plus side of making the map so much bigger is that there's so many areas to explore in this map. I've been playing it constantly for the past couple weeks now, and you know, I still haven't seen all of the map and won't for a very long time. There's still so many places to go. The circle seems a little bit more variable, which is nice, varied. I still haven't seen it really go like the coal mine anywhere there yet, or near winery at all, but it does seem to go on the more of the outside of the map, which I like a lot. So definitely want to hear your comments below if you want to get involved on this action on Friday. Again, make sure you're following on Twitch at twitch.tv/blitz5 and friends. And I hope you guys enjoy this final kill with the crossbow. Let's go. As always, thank you all for watching. Have fun in the battlegrounds. I'm Blitz5, and peace out.
Oh no, it's one down, one up. He's right on my body.
Okay.
I knocked one.
Actually, he's on the rock.
Oh, crossbow for the win, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
GG's.
Let's go.
Did that crossbow for a reason.